Folks, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because this message is reaching you at a moment when you need to pay attention to what is happening around your dreams, your plans, and the people influencing your life. If you clicked on this video today, do not treat it as something you need to rush through. Take a breath, settle your heart, and stay with this message until the very end, because the warning given through this message is connected to something very important. The angels are warning that someone connected with a group of 3 men and 2 women may try to interfere with your dreams, hopes, and aspirations. My beloved child, this does not mean you should become afraid of everyone around you, and it does not mean you should accuse people without evidence. The message is calling you to awareness. It is reminding you to use wisdom. Listen carefully to your intuition, watch people's actions, and stand firmly when someone tries to pull you away from the path you believe you are meant to follow. There may be people who do not understand your vision. There may be people who question your choices. There may even be people who appear supportive while their actions create confusion, discouragement, or doubt. But listen carefully, my child. You do not have to surrender your dreams simply because somebody else does not believe in them. God sees the journey you are walking. He sees the struggles nobody else sees. He knows the prayers you have whispered when nobody was listening. He knows how many times you wanted to give up but kept going. That is why this message begins with discernment, courage, and faith. Your responsibility is not to live in fear. Your responsibility is to remain awake, wise, prayerful, and grounded. If something repeatedly feels wrong, do not immediately react, but do not automatically ignore it either. Pause, pray, observe, think. Ask God for wisdom. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us to trust in the Lord with all our heart and not depend only on our own understanding, while acknowledging Him in our ways so that He can direct our paths. So, folks, stay until the end because we are going to walk through this message together, step by step, and by the time we reach the final words, I want you to understand how you can protect your peace without becoming fearful, how you can protect your dreams without becoming bitter, and how you can continue moving forward without allowing other people's opinions to control your future. My dear child, the first thing you need to understand is that your intuition can sometimes alert you to something before you have all the facts. You may walk into a room and suddenly feel uncomfortable. You may speak with someone and notice that something about the conversation does not sit right with you. You may hear encouraging words, but their behavior tells a completely different story. You may begin sharing your plans with somebody and suddenly find yourself questioning everything you wanted to do. These moments deserve attention, but they also deserve wisdom. Folks, trusting your intuition does not mean believing every thought or emotion that passes through your mind. It means becoming observant. It means noticing patterns. It means asking yourself whether your feelings are supported by what you are actually seeing and experiencing. Most importantly, it means bringing those concerns before God instead of allowing fear to become your guide. My child, there is a difference between discernment and suspicion. Discernment helps you recognize what is healthy and what is unhealthy. Suspicion can make you see danger everywhere, even when there is none. You do not want to live trapped in suspicion. You want to walk in wisdom. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Guarding your heart does not mean building walls around yourself and refusing to love anyone. It means being careful about what voices you allow to shape your thinking. Folks, if someone constantly tells you that you are not capable, that your dreams are impossible, that you should stop trying, or that you should become somebody you are not, take a moment to think about the effect that person's words are having on you. Sometimes people speak from their own fear. Sometimes they speak from their own disappointment. Sometimes they may genuinely think they are protecting you. And sometimes, as this message warns, someone may intentionally try to weaken your confidence. You do not need to decide immediately which one it is. Watch the pattern. Pray about it. Let time reveal what words alone cannot reveal. My beloved child, you can be kind while still being careful. You can listen without agreeing. You can love someone without allowing their opinion to become the steering wheel of your life. If this speaks to your heart, folks, you can type, "I trust my intuition," as a personal affirmation. You are not claiming that every feeling is automatically correct. You are declaring that you will pay attention, seek wisdom, and refuse to ignore repeated warning signs simply because you are afraid of disappointing someone. Folks, there is another important part of this message that you cannot overlook. Your dreams are deeply connected to your sense of purpose. When you lose sight of why you started, other people's voices become much louder. My child, think about the beginning of your journey. Why did you start? What were you hoping to accomplish? What did you want to change in your life? What kind of future were you praying for? What did you believe was possible before disappointment entered the picture? When you remember your purpose, you gain something powerful. You gain perspective. Suddenly, a negative comment does not have the same power. A temporary setback does not look like the end. A difficult day becomes one difficult day instead of proof that your entire dream was wrong. Folks, if you have been feeling confused lately, return to your original reason. Write it down if you need to. Pray over it. Talk to God about it. Ask Him to show you whether the dream needs to be protected, adjusted, or released. Staying connected to your purpose does not mean refusing to change. It means understanding the deeper reason behind what you are doing. Maybe your exact plan changes, but your desire to serve, create, build, help, grow, or improve your life remains. My dear child, sometimes the enemy of your progress is not a person at all. Sometimes it is distraction. Sometimes it is comparison. Sometimes it is fear. Sometimes it is the habit of constantly looking at what everyone else is doing until you forget what God placed in front of you. That is why you must return to your purpose again and again. Romans 12:2 speaks about being transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you can discern God's will. Renewal takes time. It happens when you stop allowing every outside voice to define your inside world. So, folks, if you are choosing awareness and strength today, write, "I am aware and strong." Let that statement remind you that you can remain humble without becoming weak, and you can remain confident without becoming proud. You are allowed to take your journey seriously. You are allowed to protect what matters to you. You are allowed to say, "This matters to me," even when somebody else does not understand why. My beloved child, you also need to pay attention to the people you surround yourself with. Your environment can affect your confidence more than you realize. If you spend all your time around people who constantly complain, discourage, mock your goals, or tell you that nothing will ever work, eventually their voices may begin to sound like your own thoughts. That is why healthy relationships matter. Folks, look for people who can encourage you while also telling you the truth. Look for people who are happy when you make progress. Look for people who do not feel threatened by your growth. Look for people who can celebrate your success without turning everything into a competition. A supportive person does not need you to fail so they can feel important. They can see you succeed and still feel secure in themselves. My child, this does not mean you need to cut everyone out of your life. It means you need to understand the difference between relationships that strengthen you and relationships that repeatedly drain you. Some people may not understand your vision, but they can still respect your right to pursue it. Others may question your choices because they care about you, and honest questions can sometimes help you think more carefully. That is not the same as someone intentionally trying to destroy your confidence. Folks, discernment helps you recognize that difference. If a friend says, "Have you thought about this risk?" that may be wisdom. If someone repeatedly says, "You will never succeed, you are wasting your time, and nobody will believe in you," that is a different kind of influence. You do not have to answer every negative voice. Sometimes the strongest response is simply continuing to work. My dear child, your dreams are valid. They may need adjustment. They may need patience. They may require more preparation than you expected. But you do not have to feel ashamed for having them. If this part of the message speaks to you, type, "My dreams are valid." Let that be your reminder that your hopes matter, while also remembering that God's wisdom should guide the direction of your life. Folks, if you believe someone else needs to hear this reminder today, share this message with them. You never know who is quietly fighting discouragement and needs to hear that they are not foolish for still believing in a better future. Listen carefully, my child, because challenges are another part of this journey. The presence of difficulty does not automatically mean that you have made the wrong choice. Sometimes challenges reveal where you need to grow. Sometimes they show you where your preparation is weak. Sometimes they expose habits that need to change. Sometimes they teach patience. Sometimes they teach you to ask for help. James 1:2-4 teaches that trials can produce perseverance, and perseverance can lead toward maturity. That does not mean God expects you to enjoy suffering or pretend painful circumstances are easy. It means hardship does not have to be wasted. You can learn from it. Folks, imagine that you are walking towards something you deeply want, and suddenly the road becomes difficult. You might think, maybe this means I should stop. But what if the challenge is actually teaching you something you will need later? What if the delay gives you time to prepare? What if the disappointment teaches you to recognize unhealthy relationships? What if the failure shows you a better way to approach the goal? My dear child, sometimes the lesson is not visible while you are inside the struggle. You may only understand it months or years later. That is why you should not judge your entire journey by one difficult season. A hard chapter is still only a chapter. Folks, do not let one rejection convince you that you are rejected by life. Do not let one mistake convince you that you are a failure. Do not let one person's opinion convince you that you have no future. Learn, adjust, pray, continue. There is a difference between stubbornly forcing something that is clearly unhealthy and faithfully continuing something meaningful while making wise adjustments. Ask God for the wisdom to know which one you are doing. My child, if you are in a difficult season right now, take courage. You may not see the full picture, but you can still take the next responsible step. Your progress does not have to be dramatic to be real. Sometimes progress looks like getting out of bed and trying again. Sometimes it looks like making one phone call, finishing one task, learning one skill, or refusing to return to an old destructive habit. Small steps count. Keep taking them. Folks, the angels are also reminding you to pay close attention to people's actions. Words can be beautiful, but actions reveal patterns. Someone may say they are happy for you, but if they repeatedly discourage you whenever you make progress, pay attention. Someone may say they want what is best for you, but if they constantly pressure you to abandon your values, think carefully. Someone may tell you that they are protecting you while actually making you afraid to move forward. My beloved child, do not judge someone based on one imperfect moment. We all make mistakes. Look at patterns over time. Genuine support is usually consistent. It does not appear only when someone needs something from you. It does not disappear every time you succeed. It does not require you to shrink yourself. It does not make you constantly prove your loyalty. Folks, Romans 12:9 says, "Let love be genuine. Genuine love can include honesty. Genuine love can include correction. Genuine love can even include saying no when a person's request is unhealthy. But genuine love does not need manipulation. It does not require control. It does not secretly celebrate your failure. My child, be discerning in your relationships. Ask yourself, does this relationship consistently produce peace, honesty, respect, and healthy growth? Or does it repeatedly produce fear, confusion, pressure, and discouragement? You may not have the answer immediately. That is okay. You can observe, you can pray, you can seek wise counsel, you can give yourself time. Folks, if you are choosing discernment today, type, I am discerning. And remember, this statement is not about becoming suspicious. It is about becoming wise. There is a big difference. You are not being asked to look for enemies everywhere. You are being encouraged to recognize patterns so that you can make healthy choices. My dear child, sometimes wisdom means opening the door. Sometimes wisdom means keeping the door closed. Sometimes wisdom means taking a step forward. Sometimes wisdom means waiting. Ask God for the wisdom to know the difference. My child, healthy boundaries are closely connected to discernment. If you know that someone repeatedly undermines your peace, you are allowed to establish limits. You do not have to give unlimited access to everyone who wants it. You can decide what conversations you will participate in. You can decide how much information you share about your plans. You can decide when you need space. You can decide that certain behavior is not acceptable in your life. Folks, boundaries are not punishment. They are not revenge. They are not a declaration that someone is worthless. A boundary simply says, this is what I will allow, and this is what I will not allow. My beloved child, if you have been afraid to set boundaries because you worry that people will become angry, remember that their reaction does not automatically mean your boundary is wrong. Some people become uncomfortable when they can no longer control the situation. Others may simply need time to understand the change. Either way, you can remain respectful. You do not have to scream. You do not have to insult anyone. You do not have to create a dramatic confrontation. You can calmly make your decision and follow through. Proverbs teaches the value of wisdom and self-control. Those qualities can guide your response. Folks, type, I set healthy boundaries if you are choosing peace over unnecessary conflict. If someone has repeatedly tried to undermine your goals, you can create distance without wishing them harm. You can forgive someone while deciding that they no longer have the same access to your life. You can pray for someone without allowing them to repeatedly damage your peace. My child, forgiveness and boundaries can exist together. Love and distance can sometimes exist together. Compassion and wisdom can exist together. Do not let anyone convince you that being a Christian means allowing everyone to treat you however they want. Jesus taught love, but he also demonstrated wisdom, withdrew from crowds, and did not entrust himself to everyone. Follow that balance. Be loving, but be wise. Be generous, but do not abandon good judgment. Be peaceful, but do not surrender your responsibility to protect what God has placed in your care. Folks, the angels are also reminding you to remain authentic. My dear child, you do not have to become a different person just to receive approval from people who were never assigned to your journey. You can learn from others without copying them. You can listen to advice without losing your identity. You can grow without pretending to be someone else. Authenticity is not perfection. It is honesty. It means your private choices and public words are moving in the same direction. It means you do not have to maintain one personality for people and another when nobody is watching. Folks, if you want to affirm this message, say, I am authentic. But remember what authenticity means. It does not mean refusing correction. It does not mean saying whatever you want without caring about others. It does not mean using honesty as an excuse for cruelty. Authenticity means being truthful about who you are while allowing God to continue shaping you. My child, perhaps you have changed. Perhaps the things you once wanted are no longer the things you want now. That is not automatically failure. Growth can change your priorities. Wisdom can change your direction. Life experiences can teach you what matters. You can adjust without betraying yourself. Folks, do not allow people to make you feel guilty for growing. If your values have become clearer, honor them. If your boundaries have become healthier, keep them. If your faith has become deeper, protect it. If your goals have become more focused, pursue them responsibly. My beloved child, the right people will not require you to destroy your identity to remain connected to them. Healthy relationships make room for growth. They can handle your success. They can handle your honesty. They can handle your boundaries. They can handle the fact that you are becoming wiser. So stay true to yourself while staying humble before God. That balance will protect you from both insecurity and pride. Listen carefully, folks, because self-care is not separate from your spiritual journey. You cannot constantly give, work, worry, and push yourself without eventually becoming exhausted. My dear child, your body needs rest. Your mind needs quiet. Your emotions need healthy expression. Your spirit needs time with God. You may need to step away from noise sometimes. You may need to spend time outside, read a good book, pray quietly, listen to peaceful music, or simply sit still for a few minutes. These simple things can help you regain clarity. Jesus himself often withdrew to quiet places to pray. If the Son of God valued quiet time, you should not feel guilty for needing it too. Folks, if you have been carrying too much, consider whether you have been trying to solve everything at once. You do not have to answer every message immediately. You do not have to respond to every criticism. You do not have to solve every relationship problem in one day. You can pause, you can breathe, you can pray. You can return to the issue when your emotions are calmer. My child, sometimes exhaustion makes a small problem look enormous. Rest does not solve everything, but rest can give you enough clarity to respond better. Take care of your health responsibly. Eat well when you can. Sleep enough when possible. Move your body. Spend time with people who make you feel safe and respected. Talk to someone trustworthy when you need help. None of this means ignoring spiritual matters. It means recognizing that you are a whole person. Your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being are connected. Folks, if this message is helping you slow down and breathe, stay with me, because there is more to this message about how you can continue your journey without allowing pressure from other people to steal your peace. My beloved child, the road toward your dreams may contain twists and turns that you never expected. You may begin with one plan and discover that the actual path looks completely different. At first, that can feel frightening. You may wonder whether you failed. You may wonder whether God forgot about you. But sometimes a changed route is simply a changed route. Isaiah 43:19 speaks of God doing a new thing and making a way where there seems to be no way. Folks, we should not use that verse as an excuse to call every disappointment a divine sign. Instead, let it remind you that God is able to work even when your original plan changes. You can remain hopeful without pretending to know exactly what will happen next. My child, perhaps a door closed and you felt crushed. Maybe later you realized that the closed door forced you to prepare for something better suited to you. Perhaps a relationship ended and you thought your life was over. Maybe later you discovered that the season taught you what healthy love should look like. Perhaps a plan failed and you felt embarrassed. Maybe later you learned a skill that became useful somewhere else. We cannot always know the meaning of an event while it is happening. That is why faith matters. Faith allows you to continue without demanding that you understand everything first. Folks, if you are facing an unexpected change, ask God for wisdom. Ask, Lord, what should I learn from this? What should I change? What should I keep? Where should I go next? Then listen. Sometimes the answer comes through Scripture. Sometimes through wise counsel. Sometimes through circumstances. Sometimes through a quiet realization after prayer. Stay open. My dear child, you do not have to be terrified of change. You can face it with faith, preparation, and wisdom. If something new appears, examine it carefully. If an old plan needs adjustment, adjust it. If you need to wait, wait. The important thing is that fear does not become your master. Folks, gratitude is another powerful practice that can help protect your heart while you pursue your dreams. When you focus only on what you do not have, disappointment can become the loudest voice in your mind. My child, gratitude does not require you to pretend that everything is perfect. You can be grateful and still be waiting. You can be grateful and still be healing. You can be grateful and still be praying for change. Gratitude simply teaches your heart to notice what is already present. Psalm 103 encourages us to remember God's benefits and not forget His goodness. So, take a moment each day to identify something you can genuinely appreciate. Maybe it is a person. Maybe it is an opportunity. Maybe it is your ability to wake up and try again. Maybe it is a lesson that came from a difficult experience. Maybe it is a peaceful moment that arrived in the middle of a stressful day. Folks, when you practice gratitude, you begin noticing that your life contains more than the problem currently demanding your attention. My beloved child, type, I am grateful if you want to make gratitude part of your daily mindset. Do not use gratitude to silence your pain. Bring the pain to God too. David did that repeatedly in the Psalms. He cried out, asked questions, expressed fear, and still returned to trust. That is a healthy picture of faith. You do not have to pretend. You can tell God the truth about how you feel. Then you can also remember what He has already carried you through. Folks, if you have a testimony about something God brought you through, share it in the comments. Someone reading your words may be going through something similar and may need the encouragement. My child, stay open to new opportunities, but do not confuse openness with carelessness. When something new appears, examine it. Ask whether it aligns with your values. Ask whether the opportunity requires you to compromise something important. Ask whether the people involved are trustworthy. Ask whether the timing makes sense. Ask whether you have enough information to make a responsible decision. James 1:5 reminds us that we can ask God for wisdom, and that is exactly what you should do when you are uncertain. Folks, sometimes a setback looks like the end of the story when it is actually a redirection. But sometimes a setback is simply a setback, and the lesson is to try again with a better plan. That is why you should not force every event into a spiritual explanation. Pray, observe, learn, and move wisely. My beloved child, flexibility can become one of your greatest strengths. If your first approach does not work, try another. If you discover new information, update your plan. If someone gives you wise advice, consider it. If God closes a door through circumstances, do not spend your entire life banging on it. At the same time, do not give up on a meaningful dream simply because the first attempt failed. Learn the difference between persistence and stubbornness. Persistence says, I will keep working, but I am willing to learn. Stubbornness says, I refuse to change anything, even when the evidence shows that I should. Folks, if you are open to what God may place before you, type, I am open to new opportunities. Let that statement represent a willing heart, not a reckless one. Your future may contain opportunities you cannot see today, and your responsibility is to remain ready, wise, and faithful. Folks, faith in yourself matters, but your confidence should be rooted in God rather than pride. My dear child, you need to believe that you can learn, grow, work hard, and become stronger. You do not have to believe that you will never fail. You do not have to believe that everything you want will happen exactly when you want it. Real confidence is more grounded than that. It says, even if I face difficulty, I can learn. Even if I make a mistake, I can repent and grow. Even if someone rejects me, I can continue. Even if my plan changes, I can seek wisdom and move forward. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That verse points us towards strength through Christ, not unlimited control over circumstances. Folks, if you believe you can keep moving with God's help, type, I believe in myself. Let that statement be connected to humility. You are not saying, I can do everything alone. You are saying, I will not automatically assume that I am incapable. My child, your confidence can inspire other people. When you work faithfully, remain calm under pressure, and continue learning, people may begin to recognize your strength. But do not pursue confidence merely to impress others. Pursue growth because you want to become the person God is shaping you to become. You may be more capable than you currently realize. Sometimes the people trying to discourage you have convinced you to underestimate yourself. Sometimes your own past mistakes have done the same thing. Today, you can begin changing that pattern. Stop using yesterday's failure as proof that tomorrow must fail too. Ask what you learned, then use that lesson. My beloved child, dreams require inspired action. Belief without action can remain only an idea. Prayer is powerful, but prayer should not become an excuse to avoid responsibility. If you are asking God to bless a goal, also ask Him to show you what you need to do. Then take the step that is available to you. Folks, maybe the step is small. Maybe you need to research something. Maybe you need to make a plan. Maybe you need to practice. Maybe you need to organize your finances. Maybe you need to have an honest conversation. Maybe you need to stop wasting time on something that keeps distracting you. Whatever the responsible next step is, take it. Proverbs 16:3 teaches us to commit our work to the Lord, and that principle reminds us that faith and effort can work together. My child, do not become obsessed with instant results. Consistency matters. One day of effort may not change your life. 1 week may not change your life. But repeated actions can build momentum. You may not notice the change at first because growth is often gradual. Think about a seed. You do not see everything happening beneath the soil, but that does not mean nothing is happening. Folks, the same can happen in your life. Preparation can happen before opportunity. Character can develop before influence. Wisdom can develop before responsibility. So keep working even when nobody is applauding. Keep learning when nobody is watching. Keep practicing when the results are small. My beloved child, take inspired action, but do not confuse inspiration with constant urgency. You do not need to exhaust yourself trying to prove that you deserve success. Work faithfully, rest wisely, adjust when needed. Keep God at the center. Listen carefully, folks, because patience may be one of the hardest lessons in this entire message. You may have prayed for something for a long time. You may have expected a change by now. You may have watched other people receive what you have been waiting for. And comparison may have made your waiting feel even heavier. My child, do not measure your life by someone else's timeline. Their story is not your schedule. Psalm 27:14 says, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord." Waiting does not mean giving up. It means continuing to trust while doing what you can. If you are waiting for an opportunity, prepare. If you are waiting for healing in a relationship, practice wisdom and honesty. If you are waiting for financial improvement, work on what you can control. If you are waiting for direction, pray and study Scripture. Folks, patience becomes easier when waiting is filled with purposeful preparation. You do not have to sit in fear. You can use the season to grow. My beloved child, be careful not to make desperate decisions simply because you are tired of waiting. Desperation can make unhealthy opportunities look attractive. It can make you ignore red flags. It can make you accept treatment you would normally reject. It can make you abandon your values for a quick result. Do not let impatience become the reason you walk into something that costs you your peace. God can give you strength to wait. And while you wait, continue doing the next right thing. Remember, a delayed result is not automatically a denied future. Sometimes you simply need more preparation. Sometimes circumstances need to change. Sometimes your priorities need to mature. Sometimes God may lead you in a direction you did not expect. Stay open. Stay patient. Stay faithful. Folks, the angels are reminding you that you do not have to carry every fear by yourself. When you feel uncertain, turn toward God. When you feel overwhelmed, pray. When you feel confused, seek wisdom. Psalm 91 speaks about dwelling in the shelter of the Most High, and Hebrews 1:14 describes angels as ministering spirits. My child, take comfort in knowing that Christian faith points you toward God's care rather than fear of the unseen. You do not need to spend your days trying to identify invisible threats. You do not need to become obsessed with signs. You need to remain close to Christ. Jesus is the center of your faith. If the thought of angelic protection comforts you, you can say, I am supported by angels, as an expression of faith and encouragement. But always remember where your ultimate trust belongs. It belongs in God. Folks, if you have been feeling spiritually tired, take a quiet moment today and pray simply. You do not need impressive words. You can say, Lord, give me wisdom. Protect my heart from fear. Help me recognize what is healthy. Give me courage to walk away from what is harmful. Give me patience to wait for what is right. Help me remain faithful to you. Sometimes the simplest prayer can become a turning point in your day. My beloved child, God knows what you are carrying. He knows the conversations you have not told anyone about. He knows the questions you are afraid to ask. Bring them to Him. You do not have to pretend to be stronger than you are. You can admit that you are tired. You can admit that you are afraid. Faith does not require pretending. Faith allows you to bring your real condition before God and ask for strength. My dear child, do not become so focused on the final destination that you forget to live during the journey. Many people say, I will be happy when I finally achieve this. Then the achievement comes, and another goal immediately replaces it. They keep moving the finish line and never allow themselves to enjoy the present. Folks, there is nothing wrong with ambition, but ambition should not consume your entire life. Celebrate progress. If you completed something difficult, acknowledge it. If you learned something new, appreciate it. If you handled a stressful situation better than you would have handled it last year, recognize that growth. If you prayed instead of reacting in anger, that matters. If you walked away from an unhealthy situation instead of repeating an old pattern, that matters. My child, joy is not denial. You can have joy while still carrying concerns. You can laugh while still praying for answers. You can enjoy a peaceful afternoon while still waiting for a breakthrough. Nehemiah 8:10 says that the joy of the Lord is your strength. Let joy refresh you. Let gratitude steady you. Let small victories remind you that progress is happening. Folks, if you have experienced a small victory recently, share it in the comments. It could encourage someone else. Maybe you finally completed something you had been delaying. Maybe you said no when you usually would have said yes out of pressure. Maybe you forgave someone. Maybe you started again after giving up. Celebrate those moments. My beloved child, your journey is made of many small moments, not only one giant breakthrough. Do not miss today's blessing, because you are staring so intensely at tomorrow's dream. Folks, another part of moving forward is learning to reflect, adjust, forgive, and create. Reflection asks, what happened and what can I learn from it? Adjustment asks, what should I change now that I know more? Forgiveness asks, how can I stop carrying this pain as a permanent burden? Creativity asks, is there another way forward? My child, these 4 things can help you keep moving without becoming trapped by the past. If someone hurt you, forgiveness does not mean pretending that nothing happened. It does not mean giving someone unlimited access to you. It means refusing to allow bitterness to control your future. If you made a mistake, learn from it without making the mistake your identity. You can say, "I did something wrong," without saying, "I am worthless." If your plan failed, study what happened. Maybe the timing was wrong. Maybe you lacked preparation. Maybe the strategy needed improvement. Maybe the goal itself needs to change. Do not automatically call yourself a failure. Folks, sometimes the wisest thing you can do is change the method while keeping the mission. My dear child, creativity can become especially important when the obvious path is blocked. Instead of asking only, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can I do now?" That question can move you from helplessness toward responsibility. You may discover an option you never considered. You may learn something new. You may meet someone who offers healthy guidance. You may realize that the path you wanted was not the only path available. Stay curious. Stay humble. Stay willing to learn. The Lord can give you wisdom, but you still have to participate in the process. Do not sit permanently in disappointment. Give yourself time to grieve, then ask what the next healthy step can be. Folks, if this ministry has encouraged you, strengthened your faith, or helped you think differently about a difficult situation, I want you to know how much your support can mean to this mission. The purpose of sharing messages like this is to encourage people to turn toward God, strengthen their faith, seek wisdom, and remember that they do not have to face difficult seasons without hope. My beloved child, if you would like to help us continue sharing messages centered around the Lord Jesus with people around the world, you can support the ministry through the options available on this channel, including super thanks. Please understand that support is never a requirement for God's love, and it is never a measure of your faith. If you have nothing to give, your prayers, encouragement, comments, testimonies, and willingness to share a message with someone who needs it are meaningful too. Folks, if this message has touched your heart, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may need encouragement. If you have a prayer request, place it in the comments. If you have a testimony, share that too. Someone may read your testimony at exactly the right moment and realize they are not alone. This is how a community grows. Not through pressure, but through people encouraging one another. My child, never underestimate the impact of a simple word of hope. You may think your comment is small, but another person could be reading it while feeling completely discouraged. Your testimony could remind them that difficult seasons can be survived. Your prayer request could invite someone else to pray for you. Your words can become encouragement. So, folks, if this ministry has blessed you, consider supporting it in whatever way is comfortable for you, and then keep your heart focused on the greater purpose, which is pointing people toward Christ, hope, wisdom, love, and faith. Listen carefully, my child, because we need to return to the warning that began this message. The message mentioned a group of 3 men and 2 women who may try to interfere with your dreams, hopes, and aspirations. But I want you to understand what you should and should not do with that warning. Do not become paranoid. Do not accuse 5 specific people simply because you heard this message. Do not begin searching through every relationship trying to force people into the description. That would not be wisdom. Instead, take the message as a call to discernment. If someone consistently undermines you, observe their behavior. If someone repeatedly pressures you to abandon your values, pay attention. If someone tries to control your decisions, establish boundaries. If someone makes you feel afraid to pursue what matters to you, ask why. If someone gives honest advice, consider it carefully. If someone makes a mistake and sincerely apologizes, allow room for grace. Folks, Christian wisdom does not require us to assume the worst about everyone. It teaches us to be wise, loving, patient, and discerning. Jesus told his followers to be as shrewd as snakes and as innocent as doves. That is a powerful balance. Be wise, but remain innocent. Be alert, but do not become cruel. Protect yourself, but do not become consumed by revenge. My beloved child, if you need to distance yourself from someone, do it responsibly. If you need help understanding a situation, talk with a trusted and mature person. If the situation involves serious danger, seek appropriate real-world help. Do not rely only on a spiritual message to handle serious circumstances. Faith and wisdom can work together. God can guide you while you also take practical steps. Folks, this is important because fear can make people react quickly. But wisdom often tells you to slow down. You do not need to confront everyone. You do not need to expose everyone. You do not need to prove that you are right. Sometimes the strongest move is simply refusing to participate in what is unhealthy. My dear child, when people oppose you, one of the greatest victories is refusing to let their behavior turn you into someone you are not. If someone is jealous, you do not need to become jealous. If someone lies, you do not need to lie. If someone creates drama, you do not need to create more drama. If someone tries to provoke you, you can choose self-control. Jesus taught his followers to love their enemies and pray for those who persecute them. That does not mean you must remain close to someone who repeatedly harms you. It means hatred does not have to become the foundation of your life. Folks, you can protect your peace without becoming bitter. You can set boundaries without becoming cruel. You can leave a relationship without spending years planning revenge. You can forgive without forgetting the lesson. My beloved child, do not give the people who hurt you more power by allowing them to occupy every corner of your mind. Your future deserves more attention than their behavior. Your purpose deserves more attention than their opinions. Your relationship with God deserves more attention than the arguments you could have with them. Romans 12:21 teaches us not to be overcome by evil, but to overcome evil with good. That does not mean ignoring injustice. It means refusing to let evil dictate your character. Folks, if someone speaks against you, ask whether a response is truly necessary. If it is, respond with truth and calmness. If it is not, let silence protect your peace. Not every accusation deserves an answer. Not every invitation to argue deserves acceptance. Not every rumor deserves your attention. My child, your energy is limited. Spend it wisely. Use it to build, pray, learn, serve, love, work, and grow. Do not spend your entire life trying to prove yourself to people who have already decided what they want to believe. God knows your heart. Keep walking. Folks, we are now at the heart of everything this message has been trying to tell you. Your dreams matter, but they must be protected with wisdom. Your hopes matter, but they must be carried with patience. Your aspirations matter, but they require action. Your relationships matter, but they require discernment. Your peace matters, but it requires boundaries. Your faith matters, but it must remain centered on God. My beloved child, remember these principles when you face pressure. Trust your discernment, but do not let fear control you. Stay connected to your purpose, but remain flexible enough to adjust your methods. Surround yourself with people who genuinely encourage you, but do not expect everyone to understand your vision. Pay attention to actions, not only words. Set healthy boundaries when necessary. Stay authentic. Take care of yourself. Practice gratitude. Remain open to new opportunities. Believe that you can grow. Take inspired action. Be patient. Find joy along the way. Reflect on your experiences. Adjust when needed. Forgive without abandoning wisdom. Use your creativity. And above all, keep Christ at the center of your life. Folks, if you have been waiting for a sign that you should keep going, let this be a reminder to keep moving wisely rather than blindly. You do not need to know every detail of the future to take today's step. You do not need everyone's approval to obey what you believe God has placed before you. You do not need to become perfect before you begin. My child, perhaps the most important thing you can do right now is simply stop allowing fear to make every decision for you. Fear may say, "What if they laugh?" Faith says, "I can keep learning." Fear may say, "What if I fail?" Wisdom says, "I can prepare." Fear may say, "What if I lose something?" Faith says, "God will give me strength for what comes next." Fear may say, "What if they leave?" Wisdom says, "Healthy relationships can survive honest boundaries." You do not have to silence every fear before you move. You can learn to move forward while fear is present, trusting God more than the fear. My child, before you leave this message, I want you to pause and look honestly at your life. Think about the people around you. Think about your goals. Think about the plans you have been carrying. Think about the areas where you have been discouraged. Think about the voices that have become louder than your own sense of purpose. Then bring all of it before God. Ask Him to show you what deserves your attention and what needs to be released. Ask Him to reveal unhealthy patterns without filling your heart with suspicion. Ask Him for courage to establish boundaries where they are needed. Ask Him for humility to receive correction where you need to grow. Ask Him for patience when answers are delayed. Ask Him for strength when you feel tired. Ask Him for wisdom when two choices look equally confusing. Folks, if you believe God is speaking encouragement to your heart today, write, "I trust in my strength." If you need prayer, share your request. If you have a testimony, share it. If this message helped you, like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can continue receiving faith-centered encouragement. If you know somebody who has been discouraged by negative voices, share this message with them. My beloved child, you may never know how your simple action could encourage another person. And if you feel led to support the ministry, super thanks and other support options can help us continue creating messages that point people toward Jesus and encourage them to seek God during difficult seasons. But remember, your greatest offering is a heart that seeks Christ. You do not need to perform for God. You do not need to earn His attention. You can simply come to Him honestly. Folks, if you have made it this far, stay with me for these final words because the message is not ending with fear. It is ending with courage. You have heard the warning. Now hear the encouragement. My beloved child, the angel's message is clear. Be cautious of people who may try to undermine your dreams, but do not become afraid of people. Trust your discernment. Stay connected to your purpose. Surround yourself with healthy encouragement. Pay attention to actions. Set boundaries. Remain authentic. Take care of your whole self. Accept challenges as opportunities to learn. Practice gratitude. Stay open to new possibilities. Believe that you can grow through Christ's strength. Take responsible action. Be patient. Find joy in the journey. Reflect, adjust, forgive, and create. And through every part of it, keep your eyes on God. My child, you may encounter resistance, but resistance does not have to determine your destination. You may encounter disappointment, but disappointment does not have to define your identity. You may encounter people who misunderstand you, but their misunderstanding does not erase your purpose. You may face delays, but delays do not mean you have been forgotten. You may need to change direction, but changing direction does not automatically mean you have failed. Folks, remember that a journey can be difficult and still be meaningful. A season can be painful and still produce growth. A closed door can be disappointing and still lead you toward a healthier path. A boundary can feel uncomfortable and still protect your peace. A small step can look insignificant and still move you closer to your goal. My dear child, keep walking, keep praying, keep learning, keep working, keep forgiving. Keep your heart soft before God, but keep your mind wise. Do not let the people who tried to discourage you become the reason you stop believing in what God can do through your life. And now, folks, if you receive this entire message, type 444 in the comments as your final affirmation. Not because a number has magical power, but because you are saying, I heard the message. I choose wisdom. I choose discernment. I choose healthy boundaries. I choose gratitude. I choose courage. I choose patience. I choose action. I choose joy. Most importantly, I choose to keep my faith in God. My beloved child, walk forward without panic. Protect your peace without hatred. Protect your dreams without pride. Listen carefully without becoming suspicious. Love people without abandoning wisdom. Accept correction without losing your identity. Remain patient without becoming passive. Work hard without destroying yourself. And trust God without demanding that you understand every detail today. Your story is still unfolding. There are lessons you have not learned yet, opportunities you have not seen yet, and moments of joy you have not experienced yet. So do not close the book because one chapter was difficult. Keep turning the pages. Keep walking with Christ. Keep seeking wisdom. Keep believing that God can strengthen you for whatever comes next. Folks, the warning was meant to make you aware, not afraid. The encouragement is meant to make you strong, not proud. And the final reminder is simple. You are not required to surrender your dreams because somebody else does not understand them. Stand firm, stay wise, trust God, and take the next right step. My child, may your heart remain peaceful, your mind remain clear, your relationships become healthier, your purpose become stronger, and your faith become deeper. Type I trust in my strength if you receive that encouragement. And finally, type 444 to mark the end of this message and the beginning of a wiser, stronger, more peaceful step forward. Amen.